What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to start doing these videos relatively regular. We're at Alabama Archery Academy. I've got some downtime, so I'm working on some bows, and I figured as I work on bows and stuff in here, I figured I'd give y'all little tips or tricks or show y'all how stuff is done. So what we're doing today is I'm not doing any type of tuning, not doing any type of that. I'm just going to kind of show y'all how to change out strings. And I know if you're new to archery, this will be beneficial. But if you've done stuff like this before, then you already know how it's done. But part of this channel is showing things that most people don't show. So today we are going to replace the strings, and this is on a Mathews Halon 30, and it's the Halon 6. So this video is just going to entail changing out the strings. We got the old strings, got a couple frays on them. Guys, this guy's going out of state hunting, so he wants to make sure his bow is in the best condition possible, because you do not want to get up out of state and have something break. So we are going to replace the strings. We are putting some Threads custom bow strings on. If you're familiar with my channel or 25 High, you know Threads is a big supporter of us, and we're a big supporter of them because they are awesome bow strings. So this is just going to be a video explaining how to change out strings on this particular bow. And I mean, it applies to a lot of their brands. Like not a lot of Mathews bows, the newer Triax, the Verdicts, the Traverse, the Halon, most of the Monster series that were in the past, the Chill X, Chill R, Chill. So this applies to a lot of their bows, and they're a little bit different than what your traditional bows are, as far as you have the yoke system in it. So we're gonna get started with that, and just gonna show y'all how to restring these bows today. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm going to be moving y'all around quite a bit to try to show y'all as I do this better. But what you're going to start off with, of course, you got your strings, your new strings. You don't need them quite yet. You got to get the old ones off. So we're going to start by making sure the bow's pressed, and on last chance archery presses you have to make sure, sorry that thing's squeaking, but you got to make sure these fingers are kind of that are even on both sides. That way your bow is not leaning, or your limbs are not leaning one way or another. And what we're first going to do is just pretty much the simple job of just taking what we can off without taking the cams off yet, because you have to take the cams off to replace the strings on this bow. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop these strings off of this bow. Sit on this side, because I will use that string later on in the process for like doing the peep and stuff like that here in a little bit. But then we're going to take this cable off, just run it through there right now. I won't use that again, so I'll just let it drop. So I'm going to cut the serving off of where this D-loop, where this rest loop is, the drop away rest cord is tied. Can't talk. So untie that. Try to loosen it up to where I can pull this drop away cord out of here. There we go. And I'm going to unhook it right there. Alright, so on working on these bows, you're going to need 3 Allen wrenches. You're going to need 3 Allen wrenches. You're going to need two to make it easier, you can do it with just one, but I use 2 of the 5/64 Allen wrenches and then 1 3/32. And so what the 3/32 is for, we're going to use it first, is to take this roller guard stopper off. It keeps the cables in there, whatever you want to use the proper terminology for. And we are going to take it off by just loosening up these Allen wrenches on screws on each side. And you use just one, comes out pretty easily. Then you want to use a pair of pliers. These are brass knot pliers that I use. They're rounded so they don't scratch all this stuff up. You're just going to use that. Take it off, and you'll use that again to put it back on here in a little bit. One thing, if y'all are working on bows, one thing that I've found that's very important to have, or it actually helps a whole lot, is get you one of these magnetic trays right here. That way you don't have to worry about losing your screws. It just holds the screws on there to where they don't go anywhere. Even if that was to fall, you won't have to get down and just look for screws all day. So since we got that off, we got both the cables undone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start the process of changing out the cables, or the yokes. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and take this cable off. They're kind of just ran through there. Won't need this again, so we're just going to put it right there. Do the same thing to the other side. And take out your yoke splitters. They used to call them the AVS system. Now they're more of just the plastic, so I assume they're going under the same name still. We're going to take them off, set them to the side. And now this is where you're going to need to take out your new set of strings. Let's go ahead and get them all separated. So what we're looking for to have at the very beginning of this is our yokes. Here's a cable. We're going to set that to the side right now. Here's another cable, and I drop the yokes. And there's the string. That's going to be last. So we got our 2 new yokes. We're going to set these right here for just a second. And this is where you're going to need your 2 5/64s, and that's because on these cams they use, instead of standard E-clips like most bow brands use, they use screws, which I actually really like that. The only down part to the screws is they can get stripped out or something like that, but they typically work pretty well. So I'm going to put one of the Allen heads in one side and then the other, and then I'm going to unscrew one of those sections, or one of those screws out. Take it, put it in my magnet tray. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that to this side as well. And that's got some stuff in it. So sometimes whenever, especially on the top cam, from hunting and stuff like that, these things that get like dirt or tree sap or something in them, to where you can't get an Allen wrench in it, typically just take my knife and just kind of scrape out what's in there. That was just some tree sap, I believe. Now we're going to take this other side out. You drop things a lot. So you got to make sure you be careful, and there's this little shim right there that goes on the outside of the limb. You got to make sure you don't lose them. There's your screw, and there's that shim. You can see it separated right there. And then we are getting ready to take the cams off. Now some of these are pretty tough, so I like to use typically a 1/8 Allen wrench that fits right inside there. No, that's wrong. Not for this bow. Not 1/8. I think it's let's see. We're just going to use a 3/32 for this bow. 1/8 works really well for Hoyts. And 3/32. See, what's important is, I don't know how I'm going to show this to y'all. You see how, I don't know how well you can see that, but right on the inside there it's threaded for the screws. So you want to make sure you don't mess up the threads. This 3/32 fits inside of there like so, and doesn't come into contact with the threads. So we're going to see if we can just pop it out there. There you go. And there's your axle right there. Still got the screw in on one side. Right now we're going to pop that axle right in there, and we're going to take the Allen wrench back out. I'm going to pop the cam off. So there's your cam, and this is when I would go through, just set the old yoke to the side. This is when I go through there, make sure all the bearings and stuff are good on this cam, and make sure it's spinning good. And just, you know, make sure I don't feel like anything rough on the inside of it. These seem to be alright. And now we're going to take one of the new yokes. We're going to separate them. Go ahead and put a little flex in that serving. Like that. And you don't want to have any twist in them. So we're going to take them and just relay them back in that track. Not the easiest thing to do on these, because the new strings don't have any form to them yet. They don't have any memory of being on a track, so they're not the easiest thing. Alright, so I'm getting a phone call. I'm going to take a break and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm back. Sorry, getting phone calls, might have those. I'm during business hours here, so. Alright, so I got the yoke on. So what we're going to do is try to slide this back in between. And then I'm going to go to put the axle back in, and these can be a little tricky sometimes, so let's see how smoothly this one goes. You gotta make sure it's lined up. Use a phone flashlight. Okay, so I just gotta tap it in there. Go. So that one is on. Now I'm going to put the axle screw back in, and you want to be very careful not to cross thread this at all. Just be slow with it. And take your other Allen wrench and hold that side. And you just want to make sure it's tight, but you don't want to risk over tightening it. pretty much when it stops moving with your finger stop tightening it. So we did it to the bottom, so now all we got to do is do it to the top, and we're going to follow the same steps getting it out. So I'm not going to just talk it all the way through, so I'm going to put it in a little bit of high speed motion, let y'all watch me do it, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so that's done. That took longer than expected. I got like 3 phone calls. I had to stop it, had somebody walk in. But I digress. We are done putting the new yokes on. So the next step from that is going to be reinserting the AVS system. And you do that just by, I would show you, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Just popping it in, and see, these are going to be bouncing off right now because there's no form to them yet, so we just got to make sure they're on properly before you unpress it. So popping both of those back in, and that is done. Now I had to move the cables, but we're going to grab the other strings, starting off with the cables. So I got 2 different cables right here. Put that one right there. And I'm going to move y'all closer for this. So we're going to take the cable out. Alright, so since these aren't served right here, you got to make sure you don't get any of them just crossed up. So I like to put some separation between them from where the string company puts it in there. And then we're going to go, alright, so here is your AVS system. See the hole right there? We're going to put the served eye through there and then loop it through the yoke in that string, and we're just going to feed it all the way through, then center it up. Alright, so now you have this installed on there. So, and we take it and we're just gonna, for right now, we're gonna run it through here and attach it to the cam in the proper location. Okay, now that's done. Now we're going to make sure these yokes are in their appropriate tracks again, as they keep falling off. And I like to, make sure do that to the cams, tighten the cams up on it That way they make sure they look like they're all in the appropriate locations through the roller guard and everything like that. And after that is done, we are going to reinstall the part off of the guard that keeps the cables from coming out. Sorry for that squeak, guys. Gotta fix this. This tripod's about had it. So we got the 32nd out. Pop that back in there and grab my pliers. And see, those pliers, they're rounded, so they're not gonna scratch up anything. Just grab a hold of it, tighten that back up just snugly, and I try to do the same to the other side. Shouldn't need the pliers now. And that is how you do that. And now we are going to install the strings. The string. Make sure you do it to where you see how it's got that string coming through. That's the part for the peep, so make sure that has the top of the string goes toward the top of the bow, and that is how you know which way to put them on. Now wrap it through there, attach it to the eye. Sometimes it's a little bit hard. Mathews makes their eyes so big, which is not a bad thing. There we go. Pop that one through. Run it around on the cam track. Kind of pull it tight to give it a little form. Do the same to the top. Yoke fell off again, so put the yoke back on. Make sure every strand is in there. Now, since you just want to kind of readjust your yokes to make sure they're kind of centered in there. And that ABS track. Okay, make sure that won't fall off the yoke. That's the reason you have to make sure that they're on there, because they are a pain in the butt to get on there. But once you get them on there, they're good. Then you take the bow out of the press for a little while, let them kind of gain their form, their new form, because they've never been put on a bow obviously before. So alright, so sorry about the squeaking again, guys. I gotta get something new. But alright, so now you want to just examine the bow, make sure everything looks like it's in its proper point. You have your 4 points of attachment on these bows, so you want to always make sure this eyelet's around the string peg and it's wrapped all the way around the cam. Then you want to check each yoke, so there's 2 and 3, and then lastly you want to check your cable to make sure it's running through the module right there. And then obviously you do the same on the bottom. And I hope y'all enjoyed this segment of In the Shop. We're gonna do some more of these. It's obviously a new segment for a new channel. So In the Shop channel. So today we learned how to install the strings on a new or on a Mathews, a modern day Mathews bow, like this one's the Halon 30, the Halon 630. So this would work for like your Halon 32s, your Chilex, everything I listed in the beginning, plus more of their bows, even up to the Safari. So we're gonna hit you up with some more things. I'm actually probably gonna film some more of this bow. That'll be brought to you in a later video. So just as you see me wearing this nice stuff, remember I'm filming this all in one day, but I'm trying to keep the video short of this In the Shop series. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching. I appreciate all of y'all watching, and we'll catch you next time on the Cade White channel. Oh, link in the description down below. We got 25 Highs channel and Zach's channel, so check them out and like and subscribe.